Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna.
Side. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jananandana. Yashodanandana Braja Jananandana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. सच्चित्तर सदस्यमान भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय। रामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद से अद्वैत गदाधर शिवास आदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गो गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवद्वीप धाम की जय। स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जय। गंगा माई की जय। जमुना माई की जय। तुलसी देवी की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जय। All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
You are welcome for today's class.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
You can start, please.
Hare Krishna.
Now you can start, Prabhu.
All right. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayet nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityabhagavatam sevaya bhakti bhavate naishtiti. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Nam Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Tirtha Swami Etinamine. Namaste Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Ashtatatmane Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Bhakti Latitinamine. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Etinamine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunya Paripashatya Deshatari. Hare Krishna. So thank you all for giving me the opportunity to say something on the Srimad Bhagavatam. So today's class is taken from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 5, verse 13. So I'm just going to read the Sanskrit words. Ato Mahabhaga Bhavan Amogadrik Shuchi Shrabaha Satya Rato Drita Brataha Urukramasya Kilabanda Muktaye Samadina Nusmarata Vicheshtitam Atho Mahabhaga Bhavan Amogadrik Shuchi Shrabaha Satya Rato Drita Brataha Guru Kramasya Kilabanda Muktaye Samadina Smaratat Vichishtitam Ato Mahabhagavan Amogadrik Shuchi Shravaha Satya Ratodrita Brataha Guru Kramasya Kilabanda Muktaye Samadina Smaratat Vichishtitam. So word for word translation. Ato, therefore, Mahabhaga, highly fortunate. Bhavan, yourself. Amogadrik, the perfect seer. Shuchi, spotless. Shravaha, famous. Satyarataha, having taken the vow of truthfulness. Dritavrataha, fixed in spiritual qualities. Urukramasya, of the one who performs supernatural activities. That's God. Akila, universal. Banda, bondage. Muktaye, for liberation from. Samadhina, by trance. Anusmara, think repeatedly and then describe them. Tad vicheshtitam, various pastimes of the Lord. So translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O Vyasadeva, your vision is completely perfect. Your good fame is spotless. You are firm in vow and situated in truthfulness. And thus you can think of the pastimes of the Lord in trance for the liberation of the people in general from all material bondage. Purport. People in general have a taste for literatures by instinct. They want to hear and read from the authorities something about the unknown. But their taste is exploited by unfortunate literatures, which are full of subject matter for satisfaction of the material senses. Such literatures contain different kinds of mundane poems and philosophical speculations, more or less under the influence of Maya, ending in sense gratification. These literatures, although worthless in the true sense of the term, are variously decorated to attract the attention of the less intelligent men. Thus, the attracted loved entities are more and more entangled in material bondage without hope of liberation for thousands and thousands of generations. Sri Narada Rishi, being the best amongst the Vaishnavas, is compassionate towards such unfortunate victims of worthless literature. And thus he advises Sri Vyasadeva to compose transcendental literature which is not only attractive but can also actually bring liberation from all kinds of bondage. Srila Vyasadeva or his representatives are qualified because they are rightly trained to see things in true perspective. Excuse me. Srila Vyasadeva and his representatives are pure in thought due to their spiritual enlightenment, fixed in their vows due to their devotional service, and determined to deliver the fallen souls rotten in material activities. The fallen souls are very eager to receive novel informations every day, and the transcendentalists like Vyasadeva or Narada can supply such eager people in general with unlimited news from the spiritual world. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that the material world is only a part of the whole creation, and that this earth is only a fragment of the whole material world. There are thousands and thousands of literary men all over the world, and they have created many, many thousands of literary works for the information of the people in general. For thousands, sorry, I missed it. For thousands of years. Unfortunately, none of them have brought peace or tranquility on the earth. This is due to a spiritual vacuum in those literatures. Therefore, the Vedic literatures, especially the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam, are specifically recommended to suffering humanity to bring about the desired effect of liberation from the pangs of material civilization, which is eating the vital part of human energy. The Bhagavad Gita is the spoken message of the Lord himself recorded by Vyasadeva, and the Srimad Bhagavatam is the transcendental narration of the activities of the same Lord Krishna, which alone can satisfy the hankering desires of the living being for eternal peace and liberation from the miseries. Srimad Bhagavatam, therefore, is meant for all the living beings all over the universe for total liberation from all kinds of material bondage. Such transcendental narrations of the pastimes of the Lord can be described only by liberated souls like Vyasadeva and his bona fide representatives who are completely merged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Only to such devotees do the pastimes of the Lord and their transcendental nature become automatically manifest by dint of devotional service. No one else, I'm missing it. No one else can either know or describe the acts of the Lord, even if they speculate on the subject for many, many years. The descriptions of the Bhagavatam are so precise and accurate that whatever has been predicted in this great literature about 5,000 years ago is now exactly happening. Therefore, the vision of the author comprehends past, present, and future. Such liberated persons as Vyasadeva are perfect not only by the power of vision and wisdom, but also in oral reception, in thinking, feeling, and all other sense activities. A liberated person possesses perfect senses, and with perfect senses only can one serve the sense proprietor, Rishikesh, Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam, therefore, is the perfect description of the all-perfect personality of Godhead by the all-perfect personality Srila Vyasadeva, the compiler of the Vedas. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishna Bhutala Srimati Bhakti Namaste Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Shivatmane Shri Guru Karuna Shakti Bhakti Pita Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishna Bhutala Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Guru Vani Pracharanya Dev Shri Shasti Navati Pastor Tim Chitaradi Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Athumahabhagavavan amogatri shuchishrabaha satyarato Urukramasya kilabanda muktaye samadina smaratat vicheshtitam. Hare Krishna again to you all. Today's text is very interesting, and Srila Prabhupada has made it more interesting, giving us his purpose. So we will try to explain a little bit as far as our understanding will allow us. It is said that just picking a word from any of our scriptures will take you days and months, years, and you'll still not be able to completely discuss it. So we're not going to be able to discuss everything that we've read today, but we're going to just talk about few things that are of interest to me as the opportunity speaker today. So the translation says, "Oh Vyasadeva, your vision is completely perfect. Your good fame is spotless." So we all have visions in life. We all have aspirations in life. So the question is, what vision do we have? What aspirations do we have? If our vision and aspiration are not towards the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord, then our vision is imperfect. Srila Vyasadev's vision was perfect because his vision was towards Sri Krishna. And because his vision was towards Sri Krishna, his major concern was to how to liberate the sufferings of the conditioned soul. The nature of unalloyed devotee of the Lord is to help alleviate the suffering of all living entities. And so we can see in the life of pure devotees, like we all know Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, but he disguised himself and appeared on this earth planet just like a devotee, like an ordinary living being. But we know he's the Supreme Lord. And when he appeared, he walked and traveled across all the length, the width of India, preaching. So that is the first quality of a devotee. The first quality of a devotee is to travel everywhere to distribute the teachings of Sri Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the 6 Goswamis, and all the acharyas on our sampradaya. Kusha Prabhu, if you can put on the screen for us Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 21, Text 47. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter all the 21, Text 47. I'll just read the English. Thank you. It says, Hiranya Kashipu, if you can put on the screen for us Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4. Okay, I can see it. Hiranya Kashipu Chapi, Bhagavan Nandaya Tamaha, Vivik Shur Atyagat Sundaho, praladasyanubhavataha. So it says, similarly, Hiranyakashipu, who by dint of his sinful activities always defied the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, entered into the darkest region of hellish life. But by the grace of his great son, Prahlad Maharaj, he also was delivered and went back home, back to Godhead. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada was explaining in the purport of this particular verse that by the mercy and the grace of such pure devotees as Sri Prahlad, even a dumb can become a poet. And even a blind can see the stars in the sky. And so when we look at our own lives, we can understand that before we became devotees, we were actually blind. We couldn't see anything. We couldn't understand anything spiritual. But by the mercy of Srila Vyasadeva and his representatives, like Srila Prabhupada, like Bhaktitirtha Maharaj, like Kavichandra Maharaj, and so many others, we now can say something, speak something on the teachings of Lord Krishna, Lord Chaitanya, without the grace of such great personalities. Who are we to say anything from the Vedic teachings? The Vedic teachings is so deep that it is not so easy for anybody to understand. But by the grace of such pure devotees, those who are dumb can become poets. Your lifestyle as a devotee changes in such a way that when people see you on the street, they become surprised. I remember some time ago when I went to my village with devotees. Some of my old friends were looking at me, looking at devotees, and they were shaking their heads. You know, they said, "No, I don't believe this. I can't believe what I'm saying." Because I used to be a very good rascal guy, you know. I was really good at being rascal. I'm not fully out of rascaldom, but my rascaldom before I became a devotee was very, very bad. It's just Guru and Krishna's mercy that I'm here as I am, because I could have ended in any crazy situation you might think of. But that is the mercy of such pure devotees of the Lord. If Krishna Prabhu can put on the screen Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 7, verse 38. Adi Lila, chapter 7, verse 38. Let me see if I can find it here. Let's see. Adi Lila, chapter 7, verse 38. Okay. Adi Lila, chapter 7, verse 38 says, Shaba Nishtarite Prabhu Kripa Avatar. Shaba Nishtarite Kare Chatu Apara. Chaturi Apara. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in order to deliver all the fallen souls. Therefore, he devised many methods to liberate them from the clutches of Maya. So this is very interesting. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had to devise so many different methods just to liberate the conditioned soul. So as devotees, we have to devise different methods. There are different people that might not be so much interested in spiritual life, in devotional life, if you go through a certain medium. But if you go through another medium, they might be interested. And so as a devotee, we have to be very tactful to know how to preach and present. It's just like in the purpose, Prabhupada was talking about people in general have taste for literature by instinct, but people get deceived by these unnecessary literatures. So Prabhupada talks about such literatures contain different kinds of mundane poems and philosophical speculations. The word philosophy takes its root from the word Sophy, which originally started in Greece. The ancient Greeks, the most brilliant, intelligent people were called sophists. And they used to travel all over the world to preach. And actually, if you compare the sophists to ancient India, those will be the Munis. They were great thinkers. They were very good speculators. They speculate. That's how the word speculation comes about, and philosophy comes about from the word sophists. These sophists, when they speak in public, they will have closed fist. When they speak, they will have closed fist. Why did they do that? They did that because as they were going around presenting philosophies, most of them will say things that they do not actually live. And when you speak in public, as we see people do these days, like somebody speaking and you see him or her on the television with the hands open. When you're speaking with your palm open, people who know how to read palms can read your palms and tell all your secrets. And the sophists, knowing that they were not actually living what they were preaching, when they speak in public, they will have closed fists. And so that brings in about the science of palmistry. The science of palmistry helps reveal who somebody is, what his inspirations are, what his ambitions are, and almost everything about that individual. Now, one thing is being a palmist, seeing what it's there in the person's palm, and then delivering or presenting what's in the palm. And we see that in the life of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born, they had an astrologer come and compose his astrological chart. And when the astrologer compiled the chart, he realized that this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he described all the beautiful things about Lord Chaitanya, and that made his parents so happy. But there was something else that he hid. He did not tell them. He did not tell them because in the chart, he could also tell that this person is going to be the cause of broken heart to the parents, because it's going to be very handsome, very intelligent, very attractive. Everybody is going to fall in love with him. But is going to take sannyas and leave home. So when the astrologer compiled all this chart and told almost everything about what is expected of this child, he did not tell anything about his sannyas. And so they were happy, you know. So as a devotee, we should be very tactful when to say what and how to say what, and to whom are we speaking what. You cannot just go out on the street and then you show a book to a kami that has Radha Krishna, and then the person asks you, who are these people? You say, this is Radha and Krishna. So who is the man? He says, this is Krishna. Who is Krishna? God. Who is this lady? Radha. Who is Radha? God's wife. Oh, no, you don't speak that way. Because to most people and to almost every average person, they cannot fathom any single moment that God has a wife, God has a girlfriend. These pastimes are very advanced that you do not just deliver to the ordinary conditioned soul. So as devotees, we have to be very tactful. The other day I was saying that we do not teach algebra in first grade. We do not teach algorithm in second grade. First grade, second grade, you've been taught arithmetic. 1 plus 1, 1 minus 1, things like that. So we have to be very tactful in our preaching. Now, going back to Chaitanya Lila Adi, Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila chapter 7, verse 38. Lord Chaitanya himself devised different methods to reach the conditioned souls, to liberate them. There was a time I was encouraging preachers that usually come on our platform to, if possible, travel to West Africa and give some enthusiasm to the devotees. And some people were like saying, no, how can you say that? But what is the life of a sannyasi? The life of a sannyasi is to travel. We all like to travel to India. Why? Because it's a place of pilgrimage. Why is it a place of pilgrimage? It's because there are certain places that great souls have enacted a lot of pastime. My Diksha Guru Bhaktivedanta Maharaj, before he left his Leela on this planet, he instructed it that he should be cremated and his remains should be kept here in the US. So when I heard this, I was thinking about what people will be saying in his absence. So I remember the last class he gave in Gita Nagri. I was there. And we all knew that was the last class he was giving. He wasn't going to speak in public anymore. So everybody wanted to ask questions. So almost every devotee in the temple room had their hands raised. So obviously I also raised my hand up. And luckily for me, he blessed me. He picked my question. He took my question. And my question was, Gurudev, in our experience in devotional life, in ISKCON, every guru that leaves this planet, the remains is sent to India and we have Samadhi. but you are telling us that you want your remains to be left here in the US. This is no place of pilgrimage. Why? So he answered and he said, just like I said earlier on, it is great personalities that make a place a holy place. Srila Prabhupada visited Gitanagari, and he had a Gitanagari prophecy. And so when we call or mention Gitanagari, we say Gitanagari Dam. Wherever a great personality steps his foot, it's a place of pilgrimage. So I remember I was still with the devotees that took him from the temple room to his institute house, his ashram. And he saw me, so he said, Sahadeva, thank you for your question. So it is a devotee, a pure devotee, great devotees that make a place a holy place. There are some people, we live in this material world, there is what we call a good chemistry. There are two people, when they meet, they may not have met before, but as soon as they see each other, they like each other. There are two people they've never met before, but as soon as they see each other, something repels them. They do not get along, even though they've not said anything to anybody, but they just do not get along. And another time you meet somebody, you've never met him before, you've never seen him before, you see him, you appreciate him, you like him, he appreciates you, he likes you. So why would anybody ever say that if you belong to a particular geographical location, that is where you have to preach? Don't go outside your geographical location. Where is that philosophy coming from? That's a bogus philosophy. That's not true philosophy. I was in Ghana, West Africa, but Tita Maharaj was in US. If he had just stationed in US, I wouldn't have ever become a devotee. Kavichandra Maharaj is an American. If he had just stayed in America, all of us there wouldn't have become devotees. Because becoming a devotee, the first step of becoming a devotee is taking an initiation. When I first joined, most of us, when I first joined devotional service, most of us, if not all of us, our anticipation was to have initiation. And for whatever reason, Bhakti Tita Maharaj, who was like the only initiating guru at that time in that zone, was not giving initiation because he said he wasn't going to give initiation until he sees that the devotees have matured. And as such, lots of devotees I started devotional service with, they all left, they blew, because they were waiting for initiation, and it wasn't coming. But I was fortunate. I thought to myself, if I'm trying to become a devotee, which means it's a lifetime commitment. So it doesn't matter whether I get initiation today, tomorrow, in a year, 2 years, 3 years, eventually I will have initiation. And I waited. 3 years later, I had my first initiation. But lots of devotees I started with, they left. So I was so much concerned. And I asked my Gurudev that you have told us you're not going to give initiation until you see us grow up. Some of us are trying our best to follow your instruction. And because some people, some devotees are not trying their best, their negligence is now affecting those who are trying their best to serve you. So when a devotee is serving and does not have initiation and then dies, what happens? I've always been asking questions in class, and I encourage everybody to be asking questions. When I speak, as I'm speaking Bhagavatam, I'm not trying to prove to anybody, or if a speaker of Bhagavatam is speaking, that person is not trying to prove to anybody, or he is not in competition with anybody to prove that I know the scriptures better than you. Speaking the Bhagavatam, speaking Bhagavad Gita, speaking the scriptures is just a service given to us that we speak and others hear. Because just by reciting the slokas alone gives immense spiritual punya, credits. Just by listening, hearing the translation and the purpose alone gives you spiritual credits. And just by having the association of devotees gives you so much spiritual credits. So there are so many credits to have when we share the Bhagavatam as we are doing. So Bhaktivinoda Maharaj's answer to my question was, if one does not take initiation before he dies, then the aspiring guru will arrange for such a devotee to have initiation in his next life. So why do we have to wait for the next life? Tomorrow is never bright for anybody. You never know. Srila Prabhupada talks about the predictions of the Srimad Bhagavatam that were spoken 5,000 years ago, and they are happening today as they were predicted. And the future is very, very gloom. If you are intelligent, if you are a little smart, you will understand that it is very important to try your best and perfect your life in this particular lifetime and go back home in this particular lifetime. We might say, oh, well, I have weaknesses. I'm not going to be able to do that. Maybe next life. Who knows? Who knows what we said in our previous lives? Maybe in our previous lives we said, well, I'm not going to be able to do it. I'm going to do it in my next life. And that next life is this life. So why do we try to postpone it? And so some of us who are so fortunate to have taken initiation from bona fide spiritual masters because they belong to a bona fide spiritual line. Srila Prabhupada again talks about the importance of taking shelter of advanced devotees. Krishna Prabhu, if you can put this on the screen for me. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, chapter 17, verse 266. Adi Leela, chapter 17, verse 266. Srila Prabhupada talks about the importance. Good. Wow, Kusha, you good. Srila Prabhupada, this is a translation. This is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu speaking here. Offering obeisances will relieve them of all the reaction to their offenses. Then, by my grace, devotional service, bhakti, will awaken in their pure hearts. This is what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying. If you can scroll down into the purport, Srila Prabhupada talks about offering obeisances to sannyasis in ISKCON. So it says, all the sannyasis, if you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, line 6, if you can highlight that for me, please. Yes. all the sannyasis in the Krishna consciousness movement who are preaching all over the world are regular Brahmin sannyasis. Thus, the so-called caste Brahmins should not object to offering them respectful obeisances. By offering such obeisances as recommended by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they will diminish their offenses and automatically awaken to their natural position of devotional service. So this is what Srila Prabhupada is saying in the preface. This is what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying. Says all the sannyasis we have in ISKCON are regular Brahmin sannyasis. Who is a regular Brahmin sannyas? Because they do not belong to the caste system. When the Lord Chaitanya appeared in this material world, he appeared in a holy place, in a holy family, but he had sent his eternal associates in very, very far distant places. Some were born to Muslims, some were born to Sudras, some were born to low-class people. But when he started his mission, all these eternal associates were coming from left, right, north, south, everywhere to his fold. If we just study the lifestyle of Srila Prabhupada and how ISKCON was established, Srila Prabhupada came all the way from India to the United States. And his disciples, the other time Mahatma Prabhu spoke, I was telling him and I was expressing my appreciation how these young devotees, they were very young. They never knew anything about devotional service. They never knew anything about Krishna. But just by coming in contact with Srila Prabhupada, they immediately picked devotional service up. And they started preaching. Mother Malati and her then husband, Shyama-Sundara Prabhu, they were very young. Srila Prabhupada sent them to London to open the temple. And they went there and they were able to establish temples. So why don't we have the simple understanding that these are great souls that came with Srila Prabhupada and they came to help Srila Prabhupada? So there are many people scattered all over the world that are part and parcel of Srila Prabhupada's big family. And when these people are reached by these great devotees, then they are immediately reopened, reushered into the spiritual life, and they pick it up. And so it makes no sense when the people believe that I'm not going to take initiation because I do not find anybody as qualified as Srila Prabhupada. That makes no sense. It makes no sense. If someone is a good teacher and he has students and he cannot make any of his students become as good as himself, then what is the good of such a teacher? There is nothing good of such a person. In Satya Yuga, we understand. In Satya Yuga, we understand the people were 100% religious. When we know the ages are divided into 4 quarters: first, second, third, fourth. First is Satya Yuga, second is Treta Yuga, third is, someone should help me with the third,
Dwapara Yoga.
Dwapara, and the fourth is Kali. So at every age, we diminish by 25%. So in Satya Yuga, 100% were religious. When did Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha appear? Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha appeared in Satyayuga, in Golden Age, where everybody is supposed to be saintly, pious. But these were very horrible demonic. They appeared in Satyayuga. Sri Ram's Leela was in Treta Yuga. 75% were religious, 25% irreligious. In Kali Yuga, we have 25 religious, 75% irreligious. So why don't we have the faith and the belief, the common notion that there are 25% religious people, and out of these 25%, Sri Prabhupada has the power to make at least one person as good as himself to continue his movement. I remember I used to have one friend. We are no more friends, but he's a Nigerian here in the US. We are very good friends. I'm not sure if he's married, but at the time he was not married, he was looking for a woman to marry. And he was so picky. Every woman he saw, he says, no, this is not beautiful. This is not beautiful. So I remember one time my wife was telling me, he is telling everybody, you are not beautiful, you are not beautiful. How handsome are you? You are not handsome. Are you looking for the most beautiful woman? You are not pious, and you're looking for the most pious person. Somebody was saying that until you become self-realized, you don't have to preach. We just heard from Mahatma Prabhu. When he went through his diary, he was amazingly, surprisingly surprised, shocked, how at that tender age in devotional service, he was able to write what he wrote. If we do not have faith in the system, that the system is fire, and even though we are metals, but when we put ourselves in that fire for a lengthy period of time, we can assume the quality of fire, and we will become fire and burn things to ashes. Then why are we in devotional service in the first place? So that is the power of devotional service. The power of devotional service is that devotional service has the power to change metal to a burning fire. And so that is what we're doing. If Bhaktitirtha Maharaj, Kavichandra Maharaj had stayed in America, none of us would have become devotees. And as such, it makes no sense for anybody to say we only have to have our local gurus to our local zone. Makes no sense. We have to use common sense. We have to use common sense in reaching out to people, preaching to them. When I encourage advanced devotees to go to West Africa to bless their devotees, we're not asking them for money. We're not asking them for any material help. We're only asking them to go and bless them with their association. When you see a Vaishnava, just by seeing a Vaishnava, you get spiritual credit. Just by bowing down, like Sri Prabhupada said in the purport, you have spiritual punya. Just by rendering direct service, punya. Narada Muni became Narada Muni as we know him today because of rendering service to the advanced devotees, eating the remnants. So when these great advanced devotees come to our zone and we serve them and we partake in their remnants, it's spiritual punya, spiritual credit. Hare Krishna. I think I've almost gone past my time, but I'll end here. And if anybody has a question, he or she may ask.
Thank you, Prabhu, for your wonderful class. And we have some questions already. First question is from Otpala Prabhu, who raised his hand first. Opala, please unmute yourself and straightly to the point. To the question, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu Sahadev, can you hear me?
Hare Krishna, Otpala Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much for this wonderful class. And thank you very much for the last part of your class, which is appealing to senior devotees around the world to try to come to West Africa to give devotees association. Just like I was mentioning on Thursday when I gave class that, other organizations, they send out missionaries, and then they did a lot, they got established, and so on and so forth. So thank you very much for making this appeal. It is very, very appropriate. Now my question is on showing people the picture of Radha and Krishna and telling them that Radha is Krishna's wife. So I know you don't subscribe to that. I know you are just giving an example because I know in the scriptures there is nowhere that it is mentioned that Radha is Krishna's wife. There is no record of Radha getting married to Krishna or even being his girlfriend. It is never there. Krishna got married to SAHADEVA. It is on Rukmini. It was not for Jambavati. It is recorded. So there is no place it's recorded that Radha got married to Krishna. Rather, she's always very close to Krishna because she is the epitome of devotional service. And Krishna explains that nobody is as dear to him or close to him like a devotee. So I know I didn't get the last part of your explanation there, but I only saw where you are saying that if somebody say, who is this? You say it's Radha. So I would like you to clarify, to throw more light on that. What is the appropriate thing to tell people, especially new people, Prabhu? Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Utpala Prabhu. Your line was cutting up a little bit, but I'll try to repeat your question.
Okay.
I got it. I believe I got it. So Utpala Prabhu was saying that
Okay.
I did mention in my delivery that when we go out distributing books, for example, that we have a book with Radha Krishna picture on it, and somebody asks, who is this? You say Krishna. Who is Krishna? You say God. Who is the lady? You say Radha. Who is Radha? You say Krishna's wife, Krishna's girlfriend. So here is saying that it's never said anywhere in the scriptures that Radha is Krishna's wife. So if I can throw more light on that. Thank you. Yes, you're right. It's never said anywhere in the scriptures that Srimati Radharani is Krishna's wife. But I said what I said because I've heard many devotees say that. Especially there was a time in Gita Nagri where students, Gita Nagri is a very interesting place. From time to time, we have lots of students from reputable colleges and universities come there to study our way of life and write their papers, especially those who are graduated. So there was a time students came, and one devotee who was fairly a senior devotee there, and we had lots of Krishna scriptures in the temple room. So the students were asking about the pictures. And so they asked the same question: who is this boy and girl? Says, this is Krishna, this is Radha, this is Paramour. And the word Paramour is used in the scriptures. Radharani and Krishna, their relationship is conjugal. That is Paramour. And that is something that you do not say to brand new people who do not have any conception about the nature of God. And that is why the pastimes of Krishna and the gopis are in Canto 10. We just heard from one of Srila Prabhupada's disciples speak on a platform where he said Srila Prabhupada thought he wouldn't be alive long enough to finish writing the Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 10. And so he desperately wanted to also give to the world the pastimes of Krishna. And so he first wrote the Krishna book, which is like the Canto 10. And then by Guru Krishna's mercy, he lived long enough to complete the Canto 10. So in Canto 10, we read about Krishna and the gopis and the Rasa Lila and the pastimes. But Srila Prabhupada emphatically says that you do not jump. You do not jump from Canto 1 of Bhagavatam to Canto 10, because then you commit offenses. Again, Srila Prabhupada says that we have to study the Srimad Bhagavatam, because if you do not study the Srimad Bhagavatam and then you start reading the Vedanta Sutra, then you probably going to misunderstand and become an impersonalist. And so there are steps, like I said in the lecture, that at a certain class, you teach a certain lesson in math. You do not teach algebra to first year students. If you are kindergarten, you're not going to be taught algebra. But as you progress, you're going to be taught algebra. So you're right, yes. Radha is never said anywhere in the scriptures that she is Krishna's wife, but she is said in the scriptures to be Krishna's paramour, which is conjugal, which is, excuse me to say, like romantic. And so you do not say something like that to a new person. The best thing is you tell whoever asks you, who is this? You say, this is Krishna. Who is this lady? That is also Krishna. Because Krishna is both man and woman. And this is so interesting because in the local dialect of the Ga people, the Accra people, Ghana, the capital Accra, when they call God, they refer to God as Father God, Mother God. So if you explain something like that to somebody who is Ga from Accra, he will appreciate it. Say, yeah, we also have the same belief that God is both male and female, especially in this day of feminism. Women are trying to rub shoulders. Why do you say God is man? Because you want to control. We can also say God is woman. And they are right. God is woman. And one fact is that, yes, Rukmini was Krishna's wife, Satyavati was Krishna's wife, Radharani couldn't be Krishna's wife because Radharani is Krishna himself. So you're right about that. But like I said, we have to be very tactful. We all know the purpose of shikha, the tuft of hair we leave at the back of our head. Srila Prabhupada was interviewed on television, a TV program, and the interviewer asked Srila Prabhupada, why do you leave the tuft of hair at the back of your head? And you know Srila Prabhupada's answer? Srila Prabhupada's answer was, we just want to be neat. We just want to be clean. We know that is true. We want to be neat, we want to be clean, but that is not the ultimate truth. And so we have to be very tactful. That's all I'm trying to say. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Our next
Thank you very
question.
much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Our next question is from Ganga Prashad, Prabhu. Ganga, please.
Hare Krishna, Ganga Prashad Prabhuji.
Obeisances at your lotus feet, all glories to Guru and Goranga, all
Prabhuji.
glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for the lecture. I just need a little clarification on the point of traveling all over the world and preaching. And my question is two-sided. First one is, what if one is not capable or can't afford to travel around and is preaching within the environment that is affordable? That is my first one. Sequel to that is, what about the concept of Kshetra sannyasis? Kshetra sannyasis, they take vow never to leave their particular environment. I want you to throw a little light on this.
Thank you so much, Ganga Prashad Prabhu. Yes. Well, taking the first part of the question, if one is incapacitated to a point that he will not be able to travel, that is well understood. You cannot travel, you cannot travel. If you cannot travel, you cannot travel. If there is probably some material ailment that is preventing one from traveling from one place to another, that is understood. You just stay wherever you are and preach. The second question, the second part of the question is those who take the vow to stay at one place and not travel. That is a vow they have taken. That is also okay. But I do not see that happening in ISKCON. Those were sannyasis before the advent of ISKCON. ISKCON is a preaching organization. And that is why when we recite the Prima Dwani, we say, Om Vishnupad Paramhamsa, Paramhamsa, Parivjak Acharya. Parivjak Acharya means you are traveling, you are restless, you have no one particular place, you keep traveling. That is Parivjak Acharya. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was traveling the length and the breadth, the east, the west, the north, south, central, everywhere in India, preaching. Because as devotees, our prime concern is to how to deliver the suffering of the conditioned soul. And that is why Lord Chaitanya devised different methods to relieving the alleviations of all these suffering conditioned souls. For instance, Lord Nityananda was specifically deputed by Lord Chaitanya to preach everywhere. And the Lord Nityananda had a disciple. One of his disciples was called Gopal. this Gopal, it said that he had a particular whisk. If he whipped you with that whisk, two things happen. Either you die or you have Krishna Prema instantly. Lord Nityananda empowered him to go around and help people. So Srivas Thakur, he was a very little boy, young boy. And then Gopal Balaram visited his house and then whipped him with his whisk. First, he did not die. Second time, he did not die. Third time, he did not die. And then his wife ran to him and says, no, my Lord, please don't whip him with your whisk again. He's so little. Don't give him too much devotional service like that. Don't give. And Shivas had Krishna Prema as a result of this blessing. And so ISKCON, as a preaching organization, the sannyasis are expected to travel. But if one decides not to travel because of some sort of physical impairment, that is understood. But the tradition of ISKCON, as we have today, is for the sannyasis to travel all over the world, not in one particular place. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Our next question is from Rasa Lila Prayer, David Dase. Rasa Lila, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Rasalila, Devi.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. It's so nice to participate in your lecture. Thank you so much. I
Good to see
apologize
you.
if I don't sound too loud. My daughter is sleeping on the other side, so. But one, your lecture really reminded me of the mood of Bhajatrita Swami, pretty much empowering not just his disciples, but pretty much the entire world to take seriously the Krishna consciousness. And he said that every moment should be now, not to put it out for, I'll chant my japa later because I have ABC going on. My life is too busy. He said to take it seriously now. And you did make a point about the seriousness of taking initiation. And that reminds me of a lecture that Radhanath Swami gave, Srila Radhanath Swami gave. He said that a lot of people sometimes they take seriously their business, their material life. But then when it comes to spiritual life, they're spiritually lazy. So there is such a thing as spiritual laziness. So how do we empower such, devotees who are not only fortunate enough to be born into the movement, but have also, taken initiation, but haven't taken seriously the vows of, chanting or reading or, trying to empower other devotees also. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for your class. And Rasalila David, I hope you try and stay healthy. Young mom, seems you have a little bit of cold.
Thank you, Prabhu. It's a little early here.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the question. Yes. In fact, just yesterday, I listened to a lecture by Bhakti Damodara Maharaj because we had a small disciples meeting on Zoom, Bhakti Maharaj disciples, and Maharaj spoke. And he says, if you want to start a business, right? You want to start a business, and you want to wait till you have like $500,000 before you start your business. You're probably not going to be able to start your business ever. Amazon, Jeff Bezos, is the world's richest man today. And I remember when I first came to US, which is quite recent, he had just started his company, Amazon. And what did he do? He just opened a website where people will go there and then list their textbooks and then sell. He started in his garage. And look at where he is now. If he had waited to say, oh no, I want to be very rich before I start, he could never have started. So you do not wait to become self-realized before you preach. Who ever said that? That makes no sense in the first place. It doesn't make sense. So spiritual life is so beautiful that whatever we say, whatever we do makes sense. Like we say, abstain from these 4 sinful things. They make sense. We greet with folded palms like this. It makes sense, especially in the face of COVID. You're not going to put your palm in somebody else's palm to catch anything. Folded palms. It makes sense. So how does it make sense to anybody to suggest or to emphatically tell the devotees that you cannot preach until you are self-realized? So that is not the case. So like you rightly said, Bhakita Maharaj says, tomorrow is now. Whatever you think you could do tomorrow, do it now. Now, if somebody has been associating with devotees for 2, 3, 4, 5 years and is not taking initiation, it's just lazy. It's lazy and idiot. Why? Because an idiot person is one who is sick, goes to see the doctor gives him medication, tells him what to eat, exercises to do, and he refuses. So Krishna consciousness is a hospital where we all come for treatment. Some of us have very serious ailments, and some of us have milder ailments, but we are all sick. And as a sick person, you have to take treatment. And treatment is first taking initiation. Nobody is qualified to take initiation. But you don't become qualified before you take initiation. If you qualified, then you don't need initiation. You take an initiation because you're not qualified. You're going to school to study because you don't know. If you know, you don't go to school. So if you're not taking initiation, it means you telling yourself that you don't need initiation because you are perfect. You're not perfect. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you,
Our
Prabhu.
our next question is from Sukadev Goswami. Sukadev, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble greetings. Thank you very much for your wonderful class. It's very, very inspiring.
I wish I could play. I could apply to like the way you apply Attila. I love it. Thank you.
Jai Prabhu, thank you very much. I have a question, and 2 questions actually, but I will ask one because that one is only what is allowed at the meantime. So my question is, it is said that wherever a pure devotee stays, that place is a place of pilgrimage. That place is a holy place, becomes a tirtha. So what happens in the sense, like, because I'm giving this reference to this thing you spoke about, His Holiness Bhakti Tita Swami Maharaj passing away in Gitanagari. So what happens in essence whereby we see some senior devotees or some senior Vaishnavas, very pure Vaishnavas, leaving their body in a hospital or through an accident. So that place that they leave their body, is that also a place of pilgrimage? This is my question for you. And the other one will follow later.
Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Yes, you're absolutely right. Wherever an advanced devotee takes birth, it's a place of pilgrimage. Wherever an advanced devotee leaves his body, it's a place of pilgrimage. And so I remember some years ago, we had a small party. Actually, I would say it was a big party. We traveled all the way to Cleveland. Yesterday was the day we honored and celebrated the passing of Her Grace Krishna Nandini Devi, who was a very stalwart Srila Prabhupada's disciple. And okay, there was something at the background. So we held a Zoom meeting. There were like over 200 and something, about 230 people on the Zoom platform, sharing the special qualities of Mother Krishna Nandini. And what's the name of this guru from Canada? What's the name?
Bhakti Marg.
Bhakti Marg Swami. Bhakti Marg Swami. Bhakti Marg Swami.
Bhakti Marg. Bhakti Marg. He does the plays, the ISKCON plays. So he was the first person to speak, and he was describing how Cleveland is such an amazing place. It's a theater. It's a holy town because Krishna Nandini took birthday, but Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj took birthday. And I remember in 2000, I think 2011, 2012, His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj took us all to Cleveland, and we traveled all the different places where Bhakti Maharaj used to live. We went to his elementary school, his high school. We went to where he lived, wherever where they lived, from one place to another. We went to the hospital where he was born at. The hospital at the time had been closed, but we went there, and Bhakti Charu Maharaj picked a stone from where Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj's house used to be, and he kept it with him. Just like you go to Govardhan Hill and pick a stone and use it as Sharagram Shila. So when these pure devotees appear, wherever they appear is a tirtha, wherever they leave their body is a tirtha. I'm not sure if I got the second part of your question, Ashukadev Prabhu.
No, he said his second question, he will ask it later.
Okay. Okay, yeah, so the fact is, wherever a pure devotee takes birth, wherever the pure devotee leaves his body is a holy dam. Well, Gita Nagri, for that part, is a holy dam, but it's also a holy dam because Srila Prabhupada himself was there. So many advanced great devotees have been there. Our temples are holy places because Krishna is there. Just imagine you go to your temple room and all the deities are gone. Srila Prabhupada's Murti is no more there. All the pictures on the wall are gone. How would you feel? You feel empty. You feel empty. We feel full and blissful because of the presence of the deities. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for your wonderful class. I want to make a comment on the question of Krishna not married to Radharani, Gopala Prabhu raised. Can I make a comment?
Sure.
Okay, there is a story in the Srimad Bhagavatam that Prabhupada told this story. It's actually to say this is on an elevated platform that they were actually married. He said that when Krishna and Radha were in their childhood ages, Radharani was asked to accompany Krishna home. So in their childhood forms, Krishna and Radharani were working together in Bandiran. Bandiravan is the name of the area in India. So they stopped to take a rest under a banyan tree. And by their mystic potency, they manifested youthful forms. Lord Brahma was asked to be the priest for the wedding, and guests arrived. Lord Brahma performed the marriage ceremony with all the demigods in attendance. During the wedding ceremony, Radharani's sari was tied to Krishna's dhoti, as it is the custom in Vedic weddings. When the ceremony was over and guests had left, they assumed their childhood forms again. Radha gave Krishna to Mara Yashoda and then walked home. In this way, it is accepted that Radha and Krishna are actually married. However, in order to make their pastimes more relishable, Radha is so-called married to Abhimanyu. The intrigue of them, Radha and Krishna, meeting in secret and planning and plotting against Jatila and Kutila always makes their pastimes more relishable. On still another level, Krishna is actually the only male Purusha, enjoyer, and everyone else is Prakriti or female. So Krishna is actually everyone's pati, husband, but especially he is every woman's husband. Prabhupada added, in fact, anyone who is married to anyone else except Krishna is committing adultery. I have the link of this verse of this lecture of Prabhupada. So anybody who wants, I can share it. But if these things we don't say it out, it's part of the 10th canto. Prabhupada said, don't read. But so here you see the secret how they get married together. Because somebody asked him, if Radha and Krishna are not really married, why do we worship two of them in the altar, like Sitaram? Then Prabhupada begin to answer these questions to reveal more intimacy, the secret of their marriage, how it happens, like that. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Bishop Prabhu. That's very interesting. I had never read that before. So that is the beauty of devotional service. It's so immense that when we come together, we share and we relish the pastimes of Sri Krishna and his pure devotees. So if we had not met today, I don't know when I would have ever come across this information. It's beautiful. Like you rightly said, we all know that we have Sitaram, we have Radha Krishna, we have Lakshmi Narayan, and all the female aspects are all originally coming from Radharani. You know, they are all originally Radharani's expansion, and the male are all originally Krishna's pastime. So, like you rightly said, yes, if Ram was married to Sita, which Sita is Krishna, Sita is Radharani, Ram is Krishna. Yes, they married. But like you rightly said from Sri Prabhupada's lecture, that as devotees, we have to be very tactful when to deliver what. Like I said in the Sri Prabhupada's interview with the TV interviewer, he asked him, what is the significance of your shika? He says, just to keep ourselves clean, that's all. Because at the time, Sri Prabhupada could understand that if he were to give the detailed explanation, he wouldn't get it and his audience wouldn't get it. So it's very important. Like in the US here, they have this saying, just do the right thing at the right time, at the right place, to the right person. So right. So that's very interesting. Thank you so much, Bishop Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Anyone has any more question?
If we don't have any more questions, we can close.
Haribo, you see my hand now.
Okay, Opala Prabhu, please.
Oh, Hare Krishna.
I see my hand.
Opala Prabhu, please ask your question.
So, Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Pala Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yes, as regards the Kusha Prabhu's comment,
Yeah.
that's very wonderful. And I would like to have that link where but Radha and Krishna in their youth, they were younger. So what we're saying about that marriage, that close relationship, and then in relation to preach, is just to give people, just like you are rightly pointing out the proper saying, we just want to do it as regards. So we just understand what we should give to the people that will not be too hard for them to swallow. So that's all we are trying to get some clarification. Now, for my question, on Thursday when I gave class, you asked me a question about modern literature being like a pilgrimage also cross. So I did answer the question to the best of my capability, but I was not satisfied with the answer I gave. And I am sure that you were not satisfied either, with my answer. So I am like throwing it back to you, Prabhu, that since mundane literatures are like onto a place of pilgrimage for crows, so how about the fact that by virtue of those mundane literatures, we're able to have access to books, to the proper books, and even these classes we're giving now. So, so what can we say about it? So you give me throw some light on it, because I know you knew the answer before asking me. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Well, thank you. No, I didn't know the answer before I asked the question, but from my personal experience, sometimes Krishna and Guru speak to us through the heart. And you know how sometimes, I mean, this has happened to every devotee. If you've been a devotee for a year or two or more, it's definitely happened to you. If nobody has tasted something so sweet, something so enticing, something so beautiful in devotional service, we couldn't remain devotees. If it's all pain, 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 we wouldn't be devotees. But we relish something, and it might come from different sources. But as long as it's coming from devotional service, that is what is keeping us in devotional service. So I asked the question, yes, that the purport says books that do not speak the glorifications of Shri Krishna is like a place for crows. And I know, being a Ghanaian, a crow actually is considered a bad omen. It's a very evil bird. So nobody wants to have any association with crows. But there are things that are helpful. You see, we have to understand things. There are two things that are important and things that are helpful. The Vedic literatures are important. They are important because with those literatures, we will be able to go back home, back to Godhead. But the mundane literatures are not important. They are helpful in the sense that they help us read the Vedic scriptures and also help us to read the black and white, read the letters, alphabets, numbers. And when we have these basics, then we can read the scriptures and understand. So the mundane books are not to be thrown away. They are helpful, they are useful. But based on those books alone cannot help one go back home, back to God. So it's just like we go to school, and our main reason of going to school is to go there and learn, study. But there are other things that might help us or encourage us, serve as impetus to help us go to school, like being a soccer player. Somebody doesn't want to be in the classroom and sitting on his buttocks studying for 1-2 hours. But because he likes to play soccer and he is good at playing soccer at school, he goes to school because he knows that when he goes to school, he's going to have the opportunity to play soccer. And by that, he is also studying, reading how to read. So the mundane books are not important, but they're helpful. They are not to be ignored. Just as other scriptures are not as potent as the Vedic literatures, but we do not have to underrate them. Some of us, some devotees sometimes make the mistake of assuming that if someone is not Hare Krishna devotee, that person is doomed, is lost. No, it's not doomed. I remember one time I asked Bhaktivedanta Maharaj this question. Can one who is not Hare Krishna devotee, who is not Krishna conscious, ever see Krishna face to face? And his answer was yes. And I was kind of thinking about it. And then later on, I was thinking about it. And then I remember the story my mom told me long time ago when I was like maybe 8 years old. My mama told me this story that in our village, there used to be a god, there used to be a spirit that used to come to our house. And this god, my mom told me, had 4 heads. I was 8 years old, and I just couldn't fathom what she was telling me. I just listened. And you know how sometimes somebody says something and it sticks, it never goes away. So it stuck in my mind. And I never thought about it until I started reading Hare Krishna books. Then I came across Lord Brahma with 4 heads. And I thought to myself, how could my illiterate villager see Lord Brahma? And then when I joined Hare Krishna again, I at the same time joined one other spiritual group called Ananda Marga. And when I joined Ananda Marga, I actually took initiation from them. And the mantra they gave me was Lord Brahma's mantra. So then I realized that, yes. So the mere fact that somebody does not belong to Hare Krishna does not mean that that person is doomed. And so if someone is reading from different books, it's okay. Because by reading such books, if we introduce such people to the Vedic literature, then they will be able to read and appreciate. For instance, if you read Bhagavad Gita, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. If you read Kusha Prabhu, if you can put any random text from the Bhagavad Gita, like let's say chapter 2, verse 20. Let's see. If you can put chapter 2, verse 20. I want us to experiment something. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 20. I like that text because it's a very popular text everybody knows.
Okay, here we go.
For the soul there is neither birth nor death. Okay, we say, Okay. Najayate Mriate Va Katachin. You see, when you study English literature and you study poetry, it helps you become a good musician. If you want to become a good musician, you study English literature. Because when you study English literature, there is what we call syllables. And we have stanzas. Like we have first, second, third, fourth stanzas. And we have what we call beats and rhythm. So the words is going to be broken down. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. And then you have na. If you look at my finger, na, ja, ya, te, mri, ya, te, va, ka, da, chin. So that is 16 syllables. Then you have na, yam, ba, twa, ba, vi, ta, va, na, bu, ya. 16. Do you see that? Let's go to the next line. A, jo, ni, tia, sha, shwa, to, yam, pu, ra, no. 16. Then let's go to the next line. Na, han, ya, te, han, ya, ma, ne, sha, ri, re. Isn't that beautiful? That's music. That's music. That's why when you speak Sanskrit, it's like singing. And so when you study English literature, you will learn this. And so when you read the scriptures, you have more appreciation. It says, wow, this ancient literature has all these things already in there. So it should not be condemned. It's very useful. Because like I was saying, if I did not have that material education, I wouldn't be able to read. I wouldn't be able to read. But when we have such knowledge and then we transform it into the Vedic teachings, then we hallow it. It becomes glorified. It becomes glorified. It was very surprising to hear my mom tell me that there was a spirit, there was a God that used to come. And not one time, not 2 times, many times, with 4 heads. With 4 heads. We read from the Vedic scriptures how Indra offended the Devas. We know the story how Indra fornicated, and because of that, he was punished, and he was given a female genitalia all over his body. So in India, there is a particular stone that is used as the representation of Indra that has all those holes that represents Indra. In Ghana in particular, I don't know about other parts of Africa, but in Ghana in particular, there is this particular tribe, the Avars. They have this same phenomenon. You know, when I was in Ghana, I read lots of poems. And I have a friend here in the US that I read his poem one day. And when I read his poem, I realized from his poem that he has Indra in his home. And Indra is having so much adverse effect on his lifestyle. He's here in the States and he's having so much hard time because Indra wants to use him in a particular way and he is resisting. And so Indra is punishing him. And he told me, he says, yes, Sahadev, how did you know? I said, yes, it's in your palm. And so these Avars, they worship this Indra, and they have this particular stone. It's very peculiar. It's a very special stone. This stone has like potholes all over the body.
and they install this stone in their home and they worship this stone. And if you consult the priest in charge of this god, this stone, if you commit a crime and deny that you did not commit that crime, and you are sent before this god, even in, let me see, I don't remember the dry season in Ghana, but here in the States, like July is our hottest season. It's really, really rare to have rainfall in July. But even in July, let's say it happened in here in the US, where there is no chance of rain. If you are summoned to this God, out of nowhere, thunder will strike, lightning will come and strike the person dead. It's the same phenomenon. Vedic teachings is worldwide. It's worldwide. That is why I remember Bhaktivinoda Maharaj used to encourage and advise all devotees to dress neat and appropriately, because if we do not dress neat and appropriately and we go out there, some people mistake us to be the fetish priests and fetish priestesses. Because there are some people who worship other spirits that dress exactly the way we dress. There are some that dress like Shivites with lines going this way, and there are some that apply the Vishnu Tila in Ghana. There are some that dress and have shika. There are some that dress and they have danda. We've seen them all in Ghana. And so to differentiate ourselves from these people, the only difference is that of philosophy, lifestyle, and appearance. We are neat, clean. They are oftentimes not neat and clean, and their philosophy is different. But Vedic teachings is worldwide. Thank you so much. I think I have actually.
Thank you, Prabhu. We have one last question from Gayatri on the chat box. Her question is on pain obeisances. She's asking, when we meet gurus and sannyasis, what prayers or mantra is to be recited while paying obeisances to them? You are Guru Diksha or other gurus or sannyasis, which prayers to pay, to recite when they pay obeisance?
That's a very good question, Gayatri Devi. When you see your Diksha Guru, you bow down and you chant his pranam. If you are an initiate, you have your Guru's pranam. So when you bow down, you recite that. I remember a long time ago, one outside devotee was asking myself and Srivas Prabhu, he says, you people are amazing, because I see you just touch the floor, and as soon as you touch the floor, you get up. So when do you finish reciting the pranams? And then he realized that as we going down, we're reciting the pranam. So as soon as we hit the floor, we're almost halfway into the pranam, and then we get up. But the idea is that you recite the pranam of your Diksha Guru when you pay obeisance. If you are paying obeisance to a guru, a sannyasi who is not your Diksha Guru, you just bow down to show respect. You just bow down to show respect. Because when you bow down, what you're telling is that I am like a lump of wood. That's what it means. When we pay obeisances, what it implies and signifies is that we are just like a stick of wood, lifeless. Use me as you wish. One of the reasons we wear Kantimala neck beads is that it's our collar. We are like dogs. And the spiritual master should use us as he wishes. Now we have to ask ourselves if we do that. Oftentimes we start arguing with the spiritual master. That is very, very serious. Oftentimes we argue. The spiritual master is such a special soul that when the spiritual master says something, even though it might not be the case, but because he has said it, Krishna will make it happen. There were gopis who were selling milk on the market, and somebody met one of the gopis and asked the gopi, "What do you have in your pot? What are you selling?" And the gopi jokingly said, "I have Krishna in my pot. Do you want to buy him?" The person said, "How can you have a person in the pot?" He turned the pot and there was no milk, and Krishna appeared. So, you see, when we deal with these spiritual masters, we don't have to forget that they are in this human flesh. And once you are in this human flesh, like I remember it was Radha Govinda Mataji who preached, and I think it was George Amega, somebody asked me a question about spiritual masters and how should we see that they are perfect so they should not make mistakes? They can make mistakes because they are in this human body. But those mistakes do not take away their position as self-realized spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada was in India. When he first came to the United States, that was his first time ever seeing snow. And he was surprised. He says, "What is that?" He was surprised. He was wondering why all the houses were painted white. He says, "What's going on? Is that how all your houses are?" He didn't know. That does not make him an ignorant person. No. And so when we see advanced devotees, actually it is said in the Shastras that when you do not pay obeisance to a sannyasi, you should fast. You have to fast. And if you offer obeisance, it means that you are admitting to yourself that you are nobody. You are a lump of wood. You have to be used as the person using you wishes to. But do we do that? That is the question we have to ask and answer. We have to ask ourselves if we do that. Oftentimes we try to argue with our gurus because they will be somehow lenient and friendly. Actually, that is why it is advised in the scriptures that the spiritual master never becomes your friend. No matter how close you are with the spiritual master, he is never, ever your friend. I heard some time ago somebody was addressing a guru that I am your friend. That is completely wrong. The guru is never your friend. Never. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu, for your wonderful class. We appreciate you. We kindly ask all devotees to unmute yourselves and let's chant Hare Krishna to Prabhu for his wonderful class.
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.